Hi everybody, it's Jason, one of the animal care managers here at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. Today we're coming to you from our elephant and rhino barn, and we wanted to bring a story to you about one of our amazing elephants, Malaika. Malaika is this big beautiful elephant right behind Dr. Liza and I here, and she's about 33 years old. And for those of you that have followed some of our waterhole stories, our email newsletters that we send out, you might have seen Malaika's story in there, and we do like to highlight kind of the exceptional care that we provide to our female African elephants here at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. But we do have a continuing story for her. This barn was designed to be able to take care of elephants as they age and get older. Malaika is 33, so she's kind of moving towards that end of the spectrum. And she has recently had a situation where we've had to do some different kind of medical procedures for her and evaluate a new challenge for her in her life. So if any of you guys have maybe visited the zoo earlier this week, you might have seen us doing some x-rays and other procedures on a specific body part that Dr. Liza is going to talk about here in just a second. So that's really what we're coming to you guys to talk to you about today. Dr. Liza, again, our head veterinarian, will be doing the description on what we're working on with Malaika here. And we have, of course, Malaika back there and Alana, one of our elephant caregivers, hanging out with her. She's getting a little bit of water right now. They get a little bit of electrolyte water every day, so you can see Malaika's getting drinks out of a bucket there. But I'll turn it over to Dr. Liza and kind of point out what she's talking about.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jason. And thanks for joining us here at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. So as Jay said, this is Malaika. She's a 33-year-old African elephant here. In my opinion, she has the best eyelashes at our zoo, so you should just know that. She has a bunch of kind of ongoing health problems, including some major arthritis. So that's kind of one of the things that we've been dealing with for her for a while. But the newest twist to her case is that she was playing with a log at the end of last week, and she ended up snapping a tusk. And so as you can see, this left tusk over here is a lot shorter than the other side. This will happen occasionally, that a tusk will break, but when it becomes a concern is when it actually breaks really close to the lip, or when there's a crack that goes upstream, which is what we're dealing with Malaika now. So for Malaika, initially we weren't overly concerned, but it quickly developed a bigger crack that extends back under that lip line. And so we don't know at this point whether she might eventually need a root canal, but these are some of the things that we're definitely keeping a close tab on. So as a start, when we appreciated the crack, we started her right away on pain management and antibiotics. So for her antibiotics, she's on 54 pills twice a day, which is a lot of fun for the keepers to give, but really trying to be proactive to make sure that we don't get into an infection situation. And then we've been contacting some specialists around the country, actually around North America, for advice on case management. And we're still kind of working through what the options are, but they could range anything from a kind of a dental cap or a crown to something more extensive like a partial or full root canal, to, in a worst case scenario, something like a tusk extraction. So obviously some of those would be a really, really big deal and not something we want to necessarily jump right to if it's not indicated. When you look at her tusk, you can't really see the crack right now, and part of that is because we did a temporary stabilization measure. So the bottom piece of the crack is actually mobile a little bit, and so after talking with all of our specialists, we came up with a short-term solution, which is actually some duct tape. So there are apparently 5,001 uses for duct tape, and now we're using one as a temporary, basically, patch for this elephant. We had looked at some other options as well, appliances and bands made of metal, but we thought this would be less abrasive and more comfortable for her as a short-term thing, just to stabilize the crack and make sure nothing kind of got wedged in the front of it while we explore some of our options for potentially a longer-term fix. The tusk is a really amazing tooth. It's actually a modified incisor, and through the life of an elephant, it actually continues to grow, which is a pretty phenomenal thing. So that actually gives us some options for management. If we can keep that crack from going super deep into the pulp cavity, with time, potentially years, that crack could actually grow all the way out, and then we could just eventually round off her tusk and have that crack completely gone. So something a little bit different from us. They also have kind of cool teeth in the inside of their head as well. So their chewing teeth, their molars, actually get replaced 6 times through the course of their lives. So elephant teeth are actually really pretty fantastic and pretty remarkable. Again, we're looking at a lot of different options and talking with a lot of people about how we're going to manage her tusk fracture. But short term, we've stabilized it with some duct tape, and we'll be evaluating where we go next. Again, because of her arthritis, though, we do have some additional considerations considerations that make managing her care a little bit more potentially complicated. She does physical therapy exercise, and then we're really proactive about making sure she maintains as much mobility, but that really is something that we have to take into consideration as we look at how aggressive we're going to be. So if things like duct tape end up being a great solution for 1 week or 5 weeks, and she's doing well with it, that's something we'll definitely explore. I'll turn it back to Jason to talk a little bit more about elephants and their tusks and how it's a little bit of the Achilles heel for the elephants in the conservation world.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Liza. So, of course, when we start talking about elephant tusk, we always like to remind people that it is the biggest threat for elephants in the wild. So Malaika's counterparts living in Africa, it is something that people poach them for. And so we like to continually remind people that only elephants should wear ivory. And if you can keep that in mind and not ever buy anything ivory related, that is really great to help that species. You can also attend our zoo, and we have a great Quarters for Conservation program where 75 cents of your admission is actually given to you to be able to deposit in our conservation projects. And we support an elephant conservation organization called Salvo Trust, who are doing great work in Kenya to help conserve the last big tuskers in that country. And so that is definitely important, and we'd like to definitely remind everybody that while we're dealing with that tusk challenge here, the wild counterparts are dealing with tusk challenges every single day. Like Dr. Liza said, we're exploring our options for helping Malaika through this tusk injury, and we'll keep you guys posted. It could take days or weeks or even months for us to kind of work through all the situations and trials and treatments that we're going to do, but we'll keep you updated as we go. So we'd like to thank you guys for joining us today here at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, and look forward to bringing you some more of Malaika's story in the future. Take care, everybody.